Every update for Sulfur's early access is like a nice little treat for us patient gamers, but not for everyone. With each new update, I hear from some folks saying they can't wait to try the new area after they beat sewers or castle or dungeons, so on and so forth. If I could do even the simplest of math, I would tell you the exact percentage of people that tell me this issue, but even if it's 1% of gamers that aren't able to enjoy every update to the most of its potential, that's enough to hurt me. That bothers me. So I devised a strategy, and it begins with a question. What if I told you Caves was secretly OP, that Caves has the necessary components that it takes to beat Sulfur with ease? Would you believe me? Maybe that was closer to 3 questions, but it doesn't matter. Because you should believe me, or else I'd be clickbaiting this entire video, and you, the comment section, and my grandma would all be very upset with me. And we don't want that now, do we? I'm about to show you how powerful running Caves can actually be for you, but you gotta remember something here, partner. This here game is a roguelite extraction shooter, 2 genres that rely heavily on RNG. So the process of using and abusing the many facets of Caves could be really quick for some people or incredibly grindy for others. Nonetheless, if you put in the work, really polish the elbow grease, you'll eventually hit pay dirt, all from the very beginning of the game. We drop in with the father shirt, the Dirk 69mm rounds, knowing the first few runs are going to be all about scrounging and trying to stay alive. Actually, run it back real quick because I think I've done enough videos intended for brand spanking new players, so we're just gonna go ahead and get into the meat of this sandwich. When you're stuck in an area of Sulfur, you could spend a lot of time building guns, experimenting with loadouts, not knowing exactly what you should be doing or what else could be out there. There are things you can do and find in Caves that are universally great and have no expiration on powerful results. First off, you're gonna need some solid guns and armor. Armor is completely RNG no matter which way you slice it. So look for things that work well in your playstyle and continue to look for upgrades on every run. Whether it's a pair of SULFURs, maybe a spring coiled boot, a titanium helmet, pope hat, sunglasses, whatever works best for you is gonna be your own personal fit. Weapons, on the other hand, are a smidge different because we have something of a cheat code in Caves by the name of the Hockland Salesman. In video games, assault rifles are usually the most palatable weapon. They're the ones that are the easiest to pick up and dominate with. Hi, Snoop Dogg. Hi, Snoop Dogg. This handsome fuck right here, he's gonna always have a corpse maker ready and waiting for you 30 minutes or less. But it could be more than that because the RNG is coming into play again. Some of you might find that faster than a hot and ready pizza. That's all I'm saying. Whereas in others could be cooking all morning like it's Thanksgiving. I haven't had dinner yet. I don't know if I made that obvious. The Corpse Maker is Sulfur's answer to the AK-47. It's strong, it's manageable everywhere when it comes to stats, and it's got a decent price point. Your first big purchase in Caves should always be this gun. As far as your backup piece goes, it's whatever you'd like. However, there is one powerhouse that's incredibly easy to find, and when I say easy to find, I really mean it. The Mossman can be found on the ground, in Stiffleg's inventory, in Script's inventory, in your walls. It's basically begging you to pick it up and try it out. So that's what you're gonna do, bud, if you want. Again, the backup piece is whatever you'd like, but this little guide here is going to include a lot of talk about the Mossman. In order to fund any of these purchases, you're going to need to sell all the treasure loot, organs, certain foods, oils, and scrolls. We'll get to those soon. And once you get a decent pile of scratchola, there's a few things you should be buying from every vendor. 12 gauge ammo, 5.56 ammo, and 50 BMG ammo, as well as soda if they have it, and any other goodies you think might be useful in the moment. Maybe some food that'll help top you off. But always remember to have a decent baseline, a solid foundation of cash that you can always have if you need to repair weapons and armor, and you're going to need to do that a lot. Everything I tell you to buy and pick up will make sense eventually. Don't overthink it. While we're on the subject, make sure to pick up every oil and scroll that you come across. They don't take up a lot, and they can sell for a lot of Sulf coin that's going to help to fund your adventures. You want to sell every scroll except for these exceptions: Embers, Nature, Surge, and Light. You'll need at least one of each because you'll be using them to craft the Scroll of Holy Fire, which is Embers plus Light, as well as a Scroll of Least Resistance, which is going to be Nature plus Surge. If you've come this far and you don't know, you can combine the scrolls with the hideous monster in the attic, Kevin, you mix the magics. You can also grab 2 Embers scrolls and hold on to them for a bit. I'm not saying Holy Fire and Least Resistance are the only 2 good scrolls in the game. I'm just saying they're very powerful and hard to fuck up with. That's why they're my biggest recommendations when it comes to steamrolling your way through Sulfur. As far as oils go, save every red, tan, and pink oils that you find and you could sell the rest. I mean, honestly, you can do whatever you want with them. If you want to hoard them, maybe collect all the oils, I love doing that. I wouldn't be opposed to you doing that, even though we're trying to focus on something else right now. That's okay. But the red, tan, and pink oils are going to be your damage and multi-projectile oils. Feel free to build these guns however you'd like. You can even use my Crash Course in Sulfur gun building video as a resource. But this guide is all about building a loadout that is going to make it super easy for you to run through this game, unlock all the content, have all the fun that we're having. So we're not necessarily aiming for perfection, we just want that sweet taste of borderline satisfaction. You can find plenty of enchantments by looting, breaking crack walls, defeating the splitter mini-boss. In fact, you could just teleport back to the church every time you beat that mini-boss and collect whatever scroll or oil is there, because that's about as much as you need right now. There's no reason to run the remainder of caves just yet. Now let's talk about the meat of the meat sandwich. I don't know what I'm getting at with that. Let's just move on to food. I've heard some people define Sulfur as a cuisine game with the other genres just kind of sprinkled in there for fun. And you know what? They're not wrong. Food in this game is the most important piece to survival. Here's your shopping list, even though it's more of a gathering list, but still, you're gonna want to find these things. Rodsop mushrooms, sticks, rocks, potatoes, broth, cheese, bread, butter, snails, flesh of any kind, mystery meat, metal scrap, false sulfcap mushrooms, bottled water, lungs. I know that seems like a lot, but we gotta cover all of our bases, and everything on that list is found fairly easily throughout caves. Try to pick up every fully created meal you might find along the way as well, like cheeseburgers and pizza, for example. It obviously doesn't hurt to scavenge those and use them up as needed, as well as the sodas you've been buying from every vendor, or if you're incredibly lucky, the ones you've been looting. Old Stiffleg used to sell them whenever you talk to him, but he got hit with a nerf, and now he only sells them about 20% of the time, so you gotta continue to try and stock up on them as much as you possibly can. Those ingredients are going to be used to make specific recipes, and you can make them right away, or you can store them in your storage and then just clean it up every once in a while. It's a preference thing. I like to wait and have one big cookout. I think it's more fun. But here's the recipes. 9 Rodsop mushrooms create 1 health potion. 2 sticks create 3 sawdust. A rock and a potato creates mashed potatoes. 1 broth plus 1 cheese makes 2 fondue. 1 bread plus 1 butter makes 4 butter sandwiches. 2 snails make 1 escargot. 1 metal scrap plus 1 false sulfcap make 1 sulfur grenade. The flesh and mystery meat will be hoarded for future spaghetti bolognese due to the low spawn rate of noodles in caves. You can skip hoarding those if you'd like. Bottled water is used for removing poison and fire damage because soda's so much harder to find now, and we'll be using it for something else. Save up to but no more than 4 lungs. We're going to want to use those when we can find some rubber, which happens to spawn a lot more frequently in areas like town and above. 1 lung plus rubber, or used rubber if you're fancy, will create an extra lung, the only craftable trinket in the game. We only really need these for better looting in secret underwater areas, so if you feel so inclined, you can skip out on hoarding the lungs. Maybe you could take up smoking if you really want to stick it to me. You might also find an oxygen trinket, which is significantly better than the extra lungs, so just use that if you find it. As far as stuff that you're making right now, health potions are going to be your priority. They're so strong, you can essentially just skip everything else on your list and just make a bunch of those and do just fine. We'll combine soda with sawdust to help us skip through areas that are giving us a little bit too much of a problem. I recommend Castle 2 because those Mace Knights are really freaking annoying. You can also bring sunglasses to help deal with any of the Mace Knight enemies. Mashed potatoes are incredibly easy to make, with potatoes and rocks being found everywhere. Same goes for butter sandwiches and escargot. That's why I recommend those. They're easy to remember recipes, and they all do a really decent job when it comes to healing. Fondue, on the other hand, is not only easy to make and easy to remember, but it's also liquid gold. You could use it to heal when you're in dire straits, or sell it for 150 sulf coin a piece. dealer's choice. Sulfur grenades take up only one slot in your inventory, and you can use them to break open crack walls. At least until you find a flicker. The flicker also takes up only one spot in your inventory, so if you attach a scroll of explosions, which can be made with 2 ember scrolls, remember I said we would talk about those? You've got yourself a pocket rocket, making it way easier to grind for armor, scrolls, and oils behind crack walls. After you've made one, you can stop making sulfur grenades and just sell those off. Unless you want to keep one in your hotbar so you can sprint around a little easier without having to hold down your melee. Also keep an eye out for gun insurance. It's a rare drop, but it's obviously a good thing to have on any of your weapons. Keep running caves, hoarding all of these things until you get your guns level 3 and have the scroll of least resistance and holy fire. Once you've done that, attach the holy fire scroll to your mossman and the least resistance to your corpse maker. You can also start putting some oils on both of your guns. I would recommend damage oils before multiple projectile oils to make sure you don't accidentally nerf yourself. I'm not sure if I need to say this, but the higher the funny numbers go, the better the gun. So try to find some of the better oils and not just slapping on the first ones that you find. Some good oils for the mossman are Ascetic, Slow Punch, Frugal, and Late Bloom. You can use Slow Punch and Late Bloom because Holy Fire isn't too affected by bullet speed. I still wouldn't go under 100% bullet speed though. Ascetic will remove money drops from killing enemies, but you're going to be getting a lot of your balance from selling loot anyways. Frugal would be one of the last oils I want to put on my gun. It helps to bump the damage up, but it's also going to restrict me from looting as much as I need to, so let's make sure we're really strong when we have to use that. As far as the corpse maker goes, I would look for more of the red oils, the damage percentage oils, but Brute Oil and Pot Shot are also great. Try out Hip Blaster, Damage Oil, Spartan Oil, stuff like that. Bombard or 2-Time are also great because least resistance will negate most spread and drop issues. You also don't need to ADS as much because you've got homing bullets. That's why Pot Shot and Hip Blaster work wonders. Same thing goes for the Mossman though too, because a lot of shotgun action happens in your face. I would probably use Pot Shot over Hip Blaster for the Mossman though. Considering the tan oils, the flat rate damage oils are going to work better with 12 gauge ammo having such a small starting damage number. You might be confused on why you've been buying out all the 50 BMG ammo you could find. That's because if you truly want to unleash the beast with this corpse maker, you should be chiseling it into a 50 BMG, which you can buy from Ralphie, or if you're lucky, find it through looting. It's not too expensive and the damage increase is substantial, especially if you found a good multiple projectile oil that works well with least resistance. You can also consider Gemini or Tandem oil if you can't find 2-Time or Bombard. Parallel mag also works really well if you don't mind waiting half a century for your gun to reload. I know it's not that bad. Just let me be dramatic just this once. After you apply those first 2 oils alongside their respective scrolls on your guns, I would start grinding the entirety of caves. Reaping the rewards of Cousin's 1000 Sulf coin bonus, or even weapon insurance, or a melee weapon if you're lucky. There's also the suitcase if you haven't gotten that yet. All of the things that Cousin can drop can still be very valuable while you're setting up to take on the rest of the game. Beat him again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And again, and again, and again, and again, and then again, and then maybe like 5 or 6 more times. It's fun. He's fun to fight. He's easy with this Mossman anyways. Plus, at this point, you should be beating caves in under 10 minutes. If you've seen my chest video for caves, you'll also be finding a bunch of loot along the way. The grind to gun rank 5 can take quite a while, so once you've hit that, it might be a sign that you've done enough. That you should address your stash, pick out the best oils, and finish building your guns. After a couple hours of grinding caves, you'll be the alpha that you've been dreaming of. 2 extremely powerful guns, an inventory, and a chest filled with the best heals in the game. Armor that fits your playstyle, maybe a couple of trinkets and a new melee item if RNGesus decided to bless you along the way. You're ready. It's time to run through every enemy you see and tell them that the homie Dot sent you. Your loadout and stash should be so strong that you have no problems beating every single area without failing even once. Of course, you're gonna have to learn the lay of the land, which means learning new enemies and bosses, so don't be afraid to teleport back to the church at any time. Even the strongest chads keep they shit charged. You're also going to want to teleport back to the church after fully completing a new area. Durability is crucial to survival, so you're going to want to keep your stuff repaired at all times. Feel free to pack some repair kits if you really struggle with that. To prove to you that this strategy works, I'm going to run through the entire game. Hell, I'll even handicap myself by only using the stuff that I've collected and no looting of any kind. Not even noodles, but remember, you should keep looting so you could make some spaghetti bolognese sprays and more power bars and health potions. Don't stop looting just because you've got this great starter loadout. I mean, look at all these health potions, bro. Holy shit. You're set. Don't worry. You are set. If you want to see my entire run with this loadout, you'll have to be a member because I told y'all I was going to make some extra content for you lovely people. Boom. All right, we're good. A free tongue? I've never eaten tongue. I did eat cow brains once. I hope this guide has helped even just one person to beat Sulfur and experience everything it currently has to offer. Now they'll be able to farm whichever area they want for whatever reason. How great is that? Speaking of great people, I want to give a special shout out to the members of this channel who go out of their way to throw some extra support to my family and I. They don't have to do that, but they do it anyways. Thank you guys so much. You're all amazing. If you've got any other recommendations for videos that I can do, feel free to let me know. I take every recommendation super seriously. Even if it's not for Sulfur, it doesn't matter. I always love your guys' input, whether it's a tier list, a guide, challenge, I don't care. We also started doing the soul flock again recently, so there's that. I mean, you could just tell me you want more soul flock. Sometimes that's all people say is, where's the damn soul flock? I'm fine with any of it. Oh, and don't forget to come back and visit caves once in a while when you need a restock. After all, we all return to our roots eventually, right? So says The Forecast, which is an old emo band that none of you know, so I shouldn't even be referencing them. That's not how reference works, right? How references work. It doesn't matter. I couldn't play them for you anyways. YouTube will get really mad at me. They get this whole, they get all mad about the copyright stuff. I'm sorry.